What if I told you that just 60 minutes a day could completely change the trajectory of your life? Not months from now, not someday, today. Most people spend an hour scrolling, binge watching, or worrying and wonder why nothing changes. But just 1 hour, done right, can turn your dreams into your reality. Here's the truth. The people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, they didn't wait for motivation. They didn't find a perfect day. They committed to 1 hour a day, every day, focused on what actually moves the needle. And that hour, that's where transformation begins. Most people think that to see change in their life, they need to make some massive, dramatic move. They imagine quitting their job, moving to a new city, or signing up for a $10,000 program, and then when nothing happens immediately, they feel defeated, frustrated, or stuck. But the truth is, life-changing transformation rarely comes from dramatic, one-off events. It comes from something much simpler, yet infinitely more powerful: small, consistent actions. Imagine taking just 1 hour a day, 60 minutes, and dedicating it entirely to improving one area of your life. That's it, 1 hour. Not 3 hours, not an entire day, just 1 hour of focused, intentional action, and then doing it every day. If you actually commit to this, something remarkable happens. Your life starts to shift without you even realizing the compounding effect at first. That hour becomes a seed, and each day that seed grows a little stronger, a little taller, until months later, you're looking at a completely different landscape of skills, opportunities, and confidence that didn't exist before. What's interesting is that humans are wired to underestimate what small actions can do. We look at someone who's excellent at something, a musician, a writer, a business person, and we think they must have done something extraordinary, when in reality, they started with small, deliberate steps that they repeated over and over until they became unstoppable. 1 hour doesn't seem like much in a day that's 24 hours long. Yet if that hour is completely yours, if it's an hour where you are focused, undistracted, and intentional, it's more powerful than 3 hours of scattered effort or mindless busyness. And the key here is consistency. That hour only works its magic if it becomes non-negotiable, if it's part of your daily rhythm. When you give yourself permission to do just 1 hour every day, you remove the mental barrier that often stops people from starting. You're not asking yourself to change your life in a day, just to start, just to take 1 hour seriously. And in that simplicity, there is freedom and power. There's also a psychological aspect at play. When we commit to a small, manageable amount of time, we bypass the internal resistance that often keeps us stuck in procrastination. An hour feels doable, achievable, and it gives you momentum the moment you begin. You don't need to wait for motivation, inspiration, or the perfect timing, because 1 hour is small enough to be non-intimidating, yet substantial enough to produce results. And as you start seeing those results, whether it's learning a new skill, finishing a project, or improving your health, your brain starts to associate effort with reward, and the habit starts to cement itself. That 1 hour transforms from a simple task into a daily ritual, and rituals are the real engines of long-term success. Finally, the beauty of small, consistent action is that it compounds. Each hour might feel insignificant in isolation, but when you string them together day after day, week after week, month after month, the impact multiplies exponentially. It's not linear, it's compounding. And compounding is the secret most people miss. They look for shortcuts, hacks, and massive bursts of effort when the real magic is happening quietly, steadily, in that 1 hour you commit to every single day. Most people have a distorted relationship with time. We walk around thinking we're busy, thinking we're productive, but when we actually examine our days, what do we see? Hours lost to scrolling through social media, endless notifications, binge watching, chatting without purpose, reacting instead of creating, and yet we tell ourselves, I don't have enough time to make a difference in my life. That's the trap. The illusion that time is scarce, when in reality, it's just our attention that's fragmented. 1 hour a day might seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, yet it's astonishing what can happen when you truly understand how to use it. The problem is that most people confuse being occupied with being productive. They confuse motion with progress. You can be running around all day, doing tasks, answering emails, attending meetings, and at the end of the day, feel exhausted, yet find yourself wondering why nothing has changed, why you haven't grown, why your goals feel so far away. And the answer is simple, because time alone is not the currency of change. Focused, deliberate use of that time is. When you become aware of this, the perspective shifts completely. 1 hour of concentrated effort, 1 hour where you eliminate all distractions, focus on what truly moves the needle, can accomplish more than 8 hours of scattered, unfocused work. This is not about working harder or longer. It's about working smarter and intentionally. Most people underestimate what 1 hour can do because they never actually measure their output or hold themselves accountable to what matters. They waste time, then blame the day, the circumstances, or their lack of opportunity, when in fact, the real difference between someone who achieves remarkable results and someone who doesn't is not talent, luck, or privilege. It's awareness of how to use their time effectively. Time is neutral, it's always moving, but how you choose to spend that time is everything. And understanding this is the first step toward real transformation. Once you grasp the power of 1 hour, everything changes. You stop seeing the day as a vast, unmanageable space where nothing is under your control. You start seeing opportunities to create, learn, practice, and build. You start noticing where your energy goes, and you make conscious choices about what deserves your attention. That awareness alone gives you a sense of empowerment. And here's the beauty. It doesn't take huge blocks of time or monumental effort. 1 hour can be a deep, focused writing session, a practice routine, a workout, a learning session, or even a time to plan and clarify the steps that will move you closer to your goals. When you realize how little time it takes to make a difference, the excuses disappear because the barrier to starting is gone. 1 hour is manageable, yet it's also profound in its potential. The irony is that when people begin using even a single hour intentionally, they notice other pockets of time opening up naturally. Awareness breeds efficiency, and efficiency breeds momentum. Suddenly, you're no longer drifting through the day, reacting to notifications, scrolling endlessly, and wondering why life is passing by. Instead, you're in control, making strategic choices, gaining clarity, and achieving small wins every day that compound into something extraordinary. And that is the essence of time versus productivity awareness. Realizing that it's not about how many hours you have, but how present, deliberate, and focused you are during the hours you commit to yourself. So many people drift through life without real clarity. They wake up, react to emails, scroll through social media, go to work, come home, and repeat the same cycle without ever asking themselves what they're actually building, what they really want, or why it matters. The irony is that most people want big changes, extraordinary results, or the kind of life that feels fulfilling, but they never pause to define what that life actually looks like. And when you don't know what you're aiming for, all the time in the world, even hundreds of hours, can be wasted, because without a target, effort becomes random and directionless. Clarity of purpose is the difference between spinning your wheels and actually moving forward. When you know exactly what you want to achieve, that 1 hour a day transforms from a small block of time into a powerhouse of progress, because every minute becomes intentional. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right thing. That hour isn't for filling time, it's for building something meaningful, for moving toward a vision that excites you, and for creating momentum that propels every other part of your life. The problem is that people often confuse being busy with being purposeful. You can spend an hour every day working, but if what you're doing doesn't connect to your bigger goal, it's meaningless. Clarity of purpose means understanding what matters most to you and aligning your actions with that. It's knowing what your highest leverage activity is, the thing that, if done consistently, will make the biggest impact. And when you have that clarity, something shifts psychologically. You stop procrastinating because you can see exactly why this matters. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're no longer chasing someone else's version of success. You start making choices based on alignment rather than habit. And the way your mind responds to this is incredible. Focus becomes natural, decisions become easier, and that 1 hour suddenly feels abundant because you're no longer wasting energy on distractions or low-value activities. Another layer of clarity is emotional. When you know your purpose, that hour isn't just productive, it's energizing. You're not forcing yourself to sit down or pushing through something meaningless. You're intentionally creating value for yourself, your future, or your relationships. That purpose-driven hour is magnetic. It draws momentum toward it. Every task you take on during that hour is guided by intention, which increases efficiency and quality exponentially. You also begin to notice where your time leaks away. Things that seemed urgent but weren't important become visible, and you learn to say no to them without guilt because your focus is unwavering. And here's the part most people miss. Clarity of purpose isn't fixed, it evolves. 1 hour a day spent intentionally allows you to refine, adjust, and deepen your purpose over time. The small daily steps give you feedback, show you what works, and reveal new directions you hadn't anticipated, which creates a self-reinforcing cycle of growth. Finally, clarity of purpose is the foundation for long-term results. Without it, motivation fluctuates, distractions win, and 1 hour can feel wasted. With it, even when life is messy or unpredictable, that hour becomes your anchor. It becomes the hour that ensures forward momentum, the hour that compounds into skill, confidence, and opportunity, the hour that turns dreams into tangible reality. Purpose acts as the lens through which all your actions are filtered. And when you filter your time through that lens, everything becomes sharper, more efficient, and more meaningful. Procrastination is one of the biggest silent killers of potential. We all know what it feels like to have something important to do and yet put it off, telling ourselves we'll start tomorrow, or after one more scroll, or once I feel motivated. The truth is, procrastination isn't really about laziness. It's about fear, uncertainty, and a lack of clarity. It's about the mental weight of a task seeming bigger than it actually is, and our minds instinctively trying to avoid discomfort. When you understand that, you realize the solution isn't more willpower or motivation, it's structure, strategy, and the simple act of starting. And here's the thing, committing just 1 hour a day to your most important task is the most powerful antidote to procrastination because it transforms the overwhelming into the manageable. 1 hour doesn't feel impossible. 1 hour doesn't feel like a lifetime of effort. 1 hour is tangible, measurable, and achievable, and starting is often the hardest part of any journey. The key is to reframe your approach to time and effort. Most people procrastinate because they feel they have to tackle the entire mountain at once. They imagine that progress has to be massive, instantaneous, and perfect, and when reality doesn't match that expectation, they freeze, wait, and avoid. But the truth is, progress is almost never dramatic at first. It starts small, incremental, almost invisible, and that's exactly why 1 hour a day works so well. By committing to just one focused hour, you remove the overwhelming pressure to do it all, and instead give yourself permission to take a meaningful, manageable step forward. Once you start, momentum naturally builds. Your mind shifts from avoidance to action, from fear to engagement, and suddenly that hour that seemed insignificant becomes powerful because you're no longer paralyzed by the enormity of the task. Breaking procrastination also comes from creating accountability and a routine. When you decide, I will spend 1 hour every day on this, it removes ambiguity. Ambiguity is a procrastinator's best friend because it creates infinite excuses and endless delays. By assigning a specific window of time, you give yourself a boundary, a framework, and suddenly starting becomes easier. That hour becomes sacred because it's no longer negotiable, no longer dependent on fluctuating motivation or fleeting inspiration. And when you see consistent results from that hour, even small ones, your brain begins to crave that feeling of accomplishment, which makes procrastination harder to justify and easier to overcome. Another important aspect is eliminating friction and distractions. Most people procrastinate not because the task is too hard, but because they haven't made starting effortless. If your phone is buzzing, your workspace is messy, or your environment is chaotic, the mind will naturally avoid the task. 1 hour a day, done in a focused, distraction-free way, forces your brain to settle into action. You begin to notice how little resistance it actually takes to start, and how quickly your confidence grows when you do. That hour also creates a feedback loop. Starting leads to small wins. Small wins lead to momentum. Momentum leads to habits, and habits eventually dismantle procrastination almost entirely because action has become automatic. Finally, breaking procrastination is about mindset. It's about realizing that waiting for motivation is a trap, that perfection is a lie, and that starting, even imperfectly, is what creates results. That 1 hour a day isn't just time spent. It's a statement to yourself that you are in control, that you are capable, that you can take action even when it's uncomfortable. And over time, those small, consistent acts of courage not only destroy procrastination, but build confidence, skill, and momentum in ways you never imagined. If you want real change, hit pause right now, grab a notebook, and commit to 1 hour. 1 hour you control, 1 hour for your future. I promise you, that's all it takes to start shifting everything. Skill development is the engine of progress, and yet most people treat it as optional or something that only naturally talented people do. They underestimate the power of deliberate practice, of showing up consistently, and of investing even small amounts of focused time into mastery. 1 hour a day may seem insignificant when you look at the vastness of what you want to achieve, but that's exactly the point. Mastery isn't born from massive bursts of effort. It's created by small, consistent, focused action repeated day after day. The people who seem exceptional at what they do didn't become that way overnight. They devoted themselves to learning, practicing, refining, and improving every single day, often in ways invisible to the outside world. That 1 hour, if used intentionally, becomes the building block for extraordinary competence because it compounds. Each day you practice, you're not just maintaining your skill, you're expanding it, reinforcing it, and making it sharper and more effective. The first step in using that hour for skill development is to be deliberate. You can spend an hour practicing, but without a plan or focus, you're just going through motions. Deliberate practice means identifying the specific skill you want to improve, breaking it down into actionable steps, and concentrating on the areas where improvement is most needed. It's about identifying weak points, tackling them head-on, and making sure that every minute counts. Whether it's learning a language, improving a professional skill, mastering a creative craft, or building emotional intelligence, that hour must be fully dedicated to growth, free from distractions and excuses. It's a concentrated investment in your future self, a commitment that you will show up consistently and put in the work even when it feels uncomfortable or tedious. Another key aspect is feedback and reflection. Skills don't improve in a vacuum. They improve when you assess your progress, understand your mistakes, and adjust your approach. That hour a day should include a moment to reflect on what's working, what isn't, and what can be improved. When you consistently apply this feedback loop, your growth accelerates because you're not just repeating actions, you're refining them, learning faster, and avoiding the trap of stagnation. Most people skip this part, which is why they feel like they've been practicing for months or years without seeing real improvement. The combination of focused effort and intelligent reflection is what turns a small daily investment into exponential growth. Consistency is where the magic happens. 1 hour a day might not feel like much, but after a month, you've invested 30 hours. After 3 months, 90 hours. After a year, over 300 hours of concentrated skill development. That's more than most people ever dedicate to truly mastering anything, and yet it can happen almost invisibly if you commit without trying to rush the results. The brain is wired to adapt, to learn, and to improve when given regular, structured input. Skills are like muscles. They grow stronger with repeated use, and the more you use them intentionally, the more resilient and capable they become. Over time, what once felt difficult or intimidating starts to feel natural, effortless, and even enjoyable because you've built a foundation of competence and confidence. Finally, skill development through 1 hour a day doesn't just improve your ability, it transforms your mindset. You start to see yourself as capable, disciplined, and committed. You stop feeling like progress is out of reach because you've created a system that guarantees it. That 1 hour a day is more than practice. It's an identity shift, a statement to yourself that you are the kind of person who learns, grows, and takes action. And over time, that identity becomes the foundation for every success, opportunity, and achievement you want in life. Confidence and momentum are two of the most underestimated forces in life, yet they are the exact ingredients that separate people who achieve extraordinary results from those who stay stuck in frustration and self-doubt. Most people think confidence is something you either have or don't have, that it comes from luck, talent, or external validation. But the truth is, confidence is built, and the building blocks are consistent action and visible progress. When you commit just 1 hour a day to doing something meaningful, whether it's learning, creating, improving, or practicing, each hour becomes proof to yourself that you are capable, that you can start, persist, and make tangible progress. Each small victory compounds, not just in skill or achievement, but in your belief that you can take action and move the needle in your own life. Momentum is the natural result of this, because once you see what 1 hour can produce, it's no longer optional to continue. It becomes a habit, a rhythm, a force that carries you forward, even when motivation dips or obstacles appear. The way confidence grows through 1 hour a day is subtle but profound. It doesn't happen overnight, but the brain begins to register repeated wins as evidence of competence. When you practice a skill consistently, complete a project step by step, or follow through on commitments to yourself, the inner voice that says, "I can't," starts to lose credibility. Your internal dialogue shifts from doubt to assurance because you have the proof in your own actions. And confidence, unlike motivation, is self-reinforcing. The more consistent you are, the more proof you accumulate, and the more likely you are to take on bigger challenges. 1 hour a day becomes not just practice time, but confidence-building time. Because every focused, deliberate action reinforces the belief that you are capable of creating results on your own terms. Momentum works in tandem with confidence, and it's often the unseen force behind success. Momentum is not just about speed or quantity of output, it's about the psychological energy that comes from forward motion. When you commit to an hour every day, you create a rhythm, a routine, and that rhythm generates energy. Starting becomes easier, sustaining focus becomes easier, and your resistance to distractions diminishes. Momentum doesn't just make action easier, it magnifies results. The longer you maintain it, the more natural progress becomes, and eventually it reaches a point where stopping or losing focus feels like a loss rather than a neutral choice. That hour a day is the ignition switch for momentum, and momentum transforms small, daily actions into extraordinary long-term outcomes. Another critical aspect is the emotional feedback loop. Confidence and momentum feed each other. Each hour spent intentionally produces visible progress, which boosts confidence, and confidence fuels the energy to continue, which accelerates momentum. That loop is incredibly powerful because it turns the simple act of showing up into a force multiplier. You begin to see that success isn't about giant leaps, it's about consistency, about stacking small wins, and about trusting the process. Every step forward, no matter how small, adds to this compounding effect. That is why people who achieve big results often look unstoppable. They are riding a wave of momentum generated by consistent action, and that wave carries them past obstacles that would stop others. Finally, confidence and momentum aren't just about skill or achievement, they reshape your identity. The more you commit to showing up, the more you see yourself as capable, disciplined, and proactive. The 1 hour a day becomes a symbol of your commitment to yourself, a tangible marker that you are someone who takes action, who perseveres, and who consistently invests in growth. Over time, that identity solidifies, and the combination of confidence and momentum allows you to tackle bigger goals, face challenges with composure, and create a life that aligns with your vision in ways that would have seemed impossible before. The most powerful changes in life don't happen because your circumstances change. They happen because your mindset changes. Most people go through life assuming that their limitations are fixed, that opportunity is scarce, or that success is reserved for a few lucky people. That thinking is a trap because it conditions the mind to settle, to wait, and to accept mediocrity as normal. But when you begin to commit just 1 hour a day to focused, intentional action, something subtle and extraordinary begins to happen. Your perception of what is possible expands. That hour becomes more than just time spent. It becomes a tool for reshaping the way you see yourself, the world, and your potential. You start to realize that growth is not about waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or perfect motivation. It's about taking consistent action, no matter how small, and allowing your mindset to adapt to the evidence of your own capability. The shift begins with perspective. When people invest 1 hour a day in a meaningful pursuit, they start seeing challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities. They begin to notice patterns, understand leverage points, and approach problems strategically rather than emotionally. This is a mental transformation because before, tasks might have felt overwhelming, intimidating, or paralyzing. Suddenly, a solution-oriented mindset emerges naturally, fueled by the repeated experience of taking small, manageable steps and seeing results. 1 hour a day creates proof for the mind that effort matters, that focus matters, and that progress is achievable. And this proof rewires the way you think about possibilities. You start to anticipate growth rather than fear failure, to embrace learning rather than avoid discomfort, and to act decisively rather than hesitate endlessly. Another critical element of the mindset shift is the reframing of time itself. Most people view time as a limited, scarce resource, which creates stress, anxiety, and indecision. When you commit 1 hour a day to intentional action, you begin to see time differently. You recognize that it's not about how much time you have, but how you use it. That hour becomes sacred because it demonstrates control, and control breeds confidence, clarity, and calm. The mindset changes from scarcity to abundance, from reaction to intention, and this alone has ripple effects across every area of life. Suddenly, what used to feel like a mountain of impossible tasks feels like a series of manageable steps, and decisions that used to paralyze you become straightforward because you are guided by purpose, focus, and evidence of progress. Consistency is another cornerstone of this shift. 1 hour every day may seem small, but it signals to your subconscious mind that you are reliable, capable, and committed. This consistency trains your brain to expect progress and rewards action, not just good intentions. Over time, you stop waiting for motivation because you understand that motivation is fleeting and unreliable, and you rely instead on habit, discipline, and the compounding effect of small daily wins. The mental framework shifts from needing external validation to trusting internal processes, from fear of failure to confidence in incremental growth, and from passivity to proactive creation of your life. Finally, a true mindset shift transforms identity. The more you show up for yourself consistently, even in small ways, the more your self-perception evolves. You begin to see yourself as capable, resourceful, and resilient. The hour a day becomes not just a time block, but a declaration of who you are becoming. Someone who acts, who grows, and who is intentionally creating the life they want. That mental evolution changes everything, from how you make decisions to how you approach challenges, relationships, and opportunities, because your mindset is no longer a limiting factor. It is the foundation for growth, success, and transformation. The compound effect is the quiet, almost invisible force that turns small, consistent actions into life-changing results, and yet most people completely underestimate its power. We live in a culture obsessed with instant gratification, looking for shortcuts, hacks, or overnight success. And in doing so, we overlook the real driver of extraordinary achievement, which is repetition, consistency, and the accumulation of small wins over time. 1 hour a day may not feel transformative in isolation. It might seem too small, too insignificant, or too easy to skip, but that is exactly why the compound effect is so powerful, because it works in the background, silently building momentum and multiplying results exponentially. Every focused hour you invest becomes a deposit into the bank of your future. And just like compound interest in finance, the longer you continue, the greater the impact. Until months or years later, the results are far beyond what you initially imagined. Most people fail to leverage the compound effect because they evaluate progress too soon. They expect dramatic results immediately, and when nothing monumental appears in the first week or month, they give up. The truth is that the first few deposits rarely feel significant, but each hour creates a foundation, a layer of growth that stacks on top of the previous ones. When you show up consistently, skills improve, confidence builds, momentum accumulates, habits solidify, and over time, the changes are not just noticeable, they become transformative. The secret is that compounding works because small, intentional actions are easier to sustain, less intimidating, and less likely to trigger procrastination. Yet their impact is exponential because they accumulate without any linear limit. The beauty of the compound effect is that it doesn't just multiply results, it multiplies personal belief and resilience. Every day you invest 1 hour, you are proving to yourself that change is possible, that you can follow through, and that small steps matter. That proof builds confidence, which fuels further action, which generates more results, creating a self-reinforcing cycle that is unstoppable over time. Even if progress seems slow, the compounding nature of your efforts ensures that the growth curve eventually accelerates. It's not about luck or talent, it's about showing up day after day for yourself and your goals, trusting that the seemingly insignificant actions will accumulate into something extraordinary. Another critical aspect of the compound effect is that it touches every area of life simultaneously. 1 hour invested in skill development improves competence, which increases confidence, which improves decision-making, which opens opportunities for growth in career, relationships, and personal fulfillment. 1 hour invested in health strengthens the body, boosts energy, improves mental clarity, and increases longevity, which amplifies productivity and focus in all other areas. The compounding effect is not isolated, it ripples outward, creating systemic change that often feels like it happened suddenly, even though it was the result of steady, patient accumulation. Most breakthroughs look sudden from the outside, but they are almost always the result of consistent, incremental investment over time, perfectly demonstrating the power of compounding. Finally, understanding the compound effect shifts your entire approach to life. It teaches patience, discipline, and faith in the process. It allows you to stop chasing dramatic transformations or comparing yourself to others, and instead focus on what you can control. Showing up consistently, making deliberate choices, and trusting that your efforts, no matter how small they seem today, will snowball into extraordinary results over months and years. That 1 hour a day is not just an hour. It is a commitment to the principle that small, consistent actions, repeated over time, are the true architects of transformation, success, and the kind of life most people only dream about. So here's the truth. Transformation doesn't require luck, money, or a perfect plan. It requires one simple thing: time, focused, and intentional. 1 hour a day might feel small, but when you commit, it compounds into skills, confidence, clarity, and momentum. That hour becomes proof that you are capable, that action matters more than motivation, and that the life you dream of isn't out of reach. It's waiting for you to take consistent steps toward it. Every great achievement, every remarkable change starts with small, deliberate choices, and it's in the quiet accumulation of those choices that ordinary people become extraordinary. The power's in your hands. That hour is yours to claim, yours to dedicate to your growth, your purpose, your vision. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for permission. 1 hour today, 1 hour tomorrow, 1 hour every day. And over time, your life will transform in ways you never imagined. It starts small, but the ripple effect is unstoppable. And it all begins with your decision to take that hour seriously. Remember, extraordinary results aren't about sudden breakthroughs. They're about the compound effect of consistent action. Commit to yourself, honor that hour, and watch how focus, clarity, confidence, and momentum come together to create a life you once thought was impossible. The choice is yours, the time is now, and that 1 hour could very well be the hour that changes everything.